Grow your coins, you gotta grow your coins. Grow your coins, grow your coins. Grow your coins, you gotta grow your coins. Grow your coins, grow your coins. Grow your coins, you gotta grow your coins. Grow your coins, grow your coins. Grow your coins, you gotta grow your coins. Grow your coins, grow your coins.
Is that audio? I didn't have audio. What's up, everybody? It's the Crypto Crow. I have not been. I'm so sorry. So sorry because I have been just frantic with everything that I've been working on. What is up, everybody? There's a lot that I'm going to go over in this video because I'm trying to make up for the lack of doing a daily video or even another daily video. I've been pretty much doing one weekly, and I wanted this one to be a big one. One that hopefully puts a lot of different things into perspective for people, gets you thinking about different metrics to consider when you're looking at altcoins, all sorts of stuff. And I wanted to start by just apologizing that I have not been real active on YouTube lately. I keep meaning to, and I keep wanting to, and it's always calling my name. But I will explain some of this stuff. So I have a lot of you guys know that I've been working on my own exchange, and let me just tell you, it is no small feat. And I know that some people were upset because they say, oh, well, you were helping to market CoinLion, and then you stabbed them in the back by launching your own exchange and this and that. Really wasn't the case at all. Really wasn't how things were. But, in this bear market, I have to find a job. It's really what it boils down to. It's like, there's not a lot of money going on. YouTubers, pretty much none of us on YouTube are making anything right now, to be quite honest with you. We're not like gamer channels with 10 million subscribers and we're making money on, ads and monetization and things like that. We're a niche thing. We're a niche market. We have a niche crowd. And so, we don't have millions and millions of subscribers and generating revenue that way. And with the bear market, a lot of ICO companies, ICO has almost become like a bad thing now. It's almost like people are looking to STOs as the next big thing in the future, which very well could be. We'll have to see how that starts to pan out. I see polymath being mentioned a lot in with a lot of different new companies looking to crowdfund in a certain way and launch these STOs. And, obviously there's still the question of, when is the bottom? Have we hit the bottom? Are we going to go lower? And a lot of technical analysis people out there talk about Bitcoin having one last dump before capitulation, when everybody gives up and says, screw it. And then things start to uptrend. The big CBOE, the VanEck ETF being withdrawn temporarily due to the governmental shutdown. That was actually a smart play on their part because they didn't want to have to force a decision on their ETF in the middle of this government shutdown. And so they withdrew it. It's temporary. It'll probably be a few extra weeks. And I'm sure they probably... I was talking to one of my lawyers about it, and he was like, I'm sure they kind of came to an agreement where, hey, once they resupply or resubmit it, when the market shutdown is over and this and that it'll be handled or decided upon swiftly. And so we'll see what happens with that. But if you notice, even in the news of that, there wasn't a big crash in the market. There wasn't a big drop, which tells me that it's very likely that the bottom is probably already in. Those who wanted to sell have already sold. And, the bottom has been hit, provided everybody else stops selling. And I think that the lower we go and the lower we have gotten, yes, I have a paintbrush. The lower we go and the lower we have gotten, the less risk people are willing to take on selling their Bitcoin, because they don't know when the uptrend is going to come. And, when you get this low, knowing that over-the-counter trading is at an all-time high for the most part. Everything on the back end of things is going bonkers. It's just the exchange volume. People do not want to buy large amounts of Bitcoin or anything else on exchanges right now because they don't want to suffer slippage. And so, they don't want to suffer the slippage until we're on a defined and confirmed uptrend. Because at that point, it's like you buy something, you suffer slippage, you're paying a little bit more with every buy order just to see it potentially fall below where you bought it. Nobody wants to be caught in that. And that is what's created this kind of stagnation in the market. But ultimately, I think we're in an accumulation phase. And so I get a lot of people coming to me. To go back to my point with the exchange, I'm just going to tell everybody straight up. I have been working with Blockchain Terminal for a while. I would say I think it's been a couple of months. And obviously I got Bo to come on the channel and kind of discuss his side of this whole craziness that's been going on. And after talking with them and working with them for a while, granted, they're a terminal company. I mean, their goal is to launch blockchain terminals that do aggregated trading and potentially solid arbitrage opportunities and things like that. And I think that they're going to launch those at some point. I do. However, in talking to Bo and in the midst of all of the craziness, I'd explained to him that I was looking to launch my own exchange platform, that I wanted to launch an exchange, and the discussion started where, there was an opportunity potentially to white label the blockchain terminal trading system. And I thought, okay, like that's good. I've already seen it a couple of times. We've done some pretty extensive demos because keep in mind, I've been working with them as an advisor for their marketing, like how to get the word out to people, how to potentially get other influencers involved to use the platform, beta test it, provide feedback, that sort of thing. And so, the idea has been ultimately to take what they have built for terminals and ultimately launch a web-based version of it as my own exchange. However, the very what's up, Brian Buckley, fellow Northern Kentucky guy here. Here's lunch money. Thanks, man. The very nature of it is, so the blockchain terminal itself is a self-contained unit. I have one. But, it's never done live trades, but there's tons and tons of data on it. And, a lot of people are saying, well, what about the tokens? When are our tokens going to be worth something? When can we do this? When can we do that? Well, they can't really do anything with the tokens until the platform is done. And because of so it's so complicated, but the idea has been, okay, well, let's finish the software. And originally their idea was, well, let's finish the software, launch these terminals, get the terminals out into the hands of a bunch of people and start building momentum with these terminals. And then when it changed to, well, what if you'd reach a lot more people and get a lot more end users if you had a web-based version of this? Because with the terminals, you're only as successful as the number of terminals people can afford to buy. And in a bear market, that's going to be a difficult challenge. So the idea was, well, launch a web-based platform, let people use it. Launch a demo platform that doesn't do live trading, but give the public the ability to play with this platform and kind of use it and see the functionality and get an idea for it. And then if they want, maybe they decide to choose to purchase a terminal. There's so much to it, but in the grand scheme of things, I do not personally, like, we paid money to white label this platform and launch a web-based version of it. But in my own personal opinion, I think it's going to be some time before the web-based version of this is ready. I've seen the software quite a few times now, to the point where I'm like, okay, I've seen it all a million times. I don't care about the front end. but it's the back end, and this wasn't built with this was built and designed from the beginning to be terminal software. Not having to worry so much about end user error and malware and all that kind of stuff. It wasn't built to be load balanced for 100,000 or 1 million users acting at the same time, like you have to worry about with a web-based platform. The terminal, you don't have to worry about a lot of that stuff. And the terminals have hardware keys and all sorts of things. But I think I guess what I'm saying in a nutshell is I am not at this point convinced that I want to use the blockchain terminal to launch an exchange, because the sheer expense to do that and time that it would take to do that, it could take another 6 months. And so I don't know what the future is for blockchain terminal. I think that, I know that they are definitely trying. They are working morning, noon, and night. The developers I've seen chat, it's like I've seen enough to know that they're working on it. But if anybody has a question of when Moon, when exchange, when are my tokens going to be worth something, when are my tokens going to be actively able to be used, that sort of thing, I don't know. I really do not know. I know that they want to launch a live demo in the very, very near future to let people see what they've been doing and what's been built, give everyone an opportunity. But I'm not sure that I am going to do that personally. I don't know that I feel comfortable with the web-based version of this and the time that we've had to work on it and ultimately changing focus. Because the idea was, well, if we launch a web-based version of it, then that itself will, for people that want that extra layer of security to run it on a platform where they have actually hardware keys and all that, you launch a web-based version of it first, get the tokens flowing, start building momentum and marketing, let everybody out there with their FUD articles and stuff that didn't believe in the project, let them use it and see it. And that will start changing the tide, and that will ultimately act as a commercial for the terminals. And while that's a solid plan, I don't think that this platform was developed for a web-based application to be launched so quickly. And so for me, I'm very much about security. I'm also very much about compliance. I'm very much about look, in a nutshell, I just don't know if that's going to be the route that we're taking at this point. But that is not to say that they do not have the means of getting these terminals done soon and potentially shipping these terminals out. And, whether it's through me or whether it's with me where they launch this web-based demo to let everybody see it or not, they do it on their own. They launch it as a subdomain of their blockchain, like bct.io, to show everybody. I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work. I just know that Bo and I have recently had some disagreements, if you will, on compliance. He believes one thing and I believe another, and I am not willing to take any kind of compliance risk. Basically, the platform itself is ultimately a software tool, and it is not considered an exchange. It is not considered, it's almost like a coinage on steroids, if you will. However, for some of the aggregated trading features and the arbitrage trading features, the way that system has now been presented to me to work, I don't like it so much. I think that there might be another way. And I don't, it's not to say that Bo is wrong or Sean is wrong or that there's anything necessarily wrong with it. But for me personally, without a legal team that I've spent millions of dollars on to coach me on this and let me know what's safe, secure, what's compliant, what needs regulation and what doesn't and all that, I just feel that we've gotten to a place that I felt uncomfortable. And until I've been satisfied from a compliance and regulatory standpoint, I'm just choosing to take a step back and see what happens. And that's kind of where it's at right now. It's not worth the risk. No, it's to me, like you guys know, like those of you that have followed me for a long time, like anything that I do, I want to be completely up and up. I want to be upfront. I want to be transparent, and I want things to be, let's just say, I guess you could say comfortably. I don't know what the right word is. Like, to give you an example, when I do paid reviews, like I have a paid feature coming up today. I've always, marked my YouTube channel. Like, there's a paid advertisement. I've always told everybody, look, I was paid for this. This is a paid feature, a paid review, all that. Long before it was ever a thing. You know what I mean? Long before anybody was like, oh, you have to. You know what I mean? It just to me, it was good business. To me, it was honest business. And that's just kind of how I look at things. And so, again, it's not anything that I think is wrong with the platform. Geez, I need to, okay, cool. Hold on, I need to mute this or close it. It's not anything like that. I just, if I go into an area where something new, like, let's put it this way, and then we're going to move forward. But, I believe that if Bo is right and his lawyers have truly dove into everything and all of the money that they spent on legal fees and things like that, really broke down every little nuance of this platform as it's been designed and built, and it is everything Bo says it is in terms of like compliance and regulatory standards and all this other stuff, it will absolutely be groundbreaking. I mean, I totally believe that. But to me, there are elements to it which I'm not going to explain. I'll let them explain it when they're ready to launch it. But there are just elements to it that I've never heard before, and I just don't know how the regulation. I don't know how people are going to feel about it. If it's okay, it's going to change the way everybody trades crypto. I will tell you that. And when they manage to launch these terminals and people get them and they're using them and all of that, I believe that all the token holders, including myself, are going to be very, very happy. But I still think that they have a difficult road, and that's all I'm going to say. And I'll leave it there. But we'll see what happens. Anyway. Mint, chew guy, or wintergreen? Oh, it's funny. What's up, Joey D? I used to dip wintergreen, and it started agitating the nerves in my jaw. And my wife looked it up, and she's like, "Yeah, it's the wintergreen. It starts making your jawline all that feel funny." And so I switched to cherry. All right. If they have a lawyer team that followed up on law, then there should be a paper trail of correspondence that you could see. Yeah, but it's so complex, man. It really is. And I'm not a lawyer. So for me, I have a couple lawyers that could go through it. But I don't know to what extent, I don't know how Blockchain Terminal has spent the past year, developing this thing. Did Bo go to all the lawyers and say, I want this platform to do X, Y, Z, and I want to make sure that it's legal, compliant, and we don't have to worry about this regulation or that. I don't know what the process was. I wasn't a part of all of that or any of that. And that's what makes me nervous, because I wasn't a privy to all of that. I don't know what the lawyers have said. I don't know anything. I'm just a dumb guy on the internet trying to make his way. And if I don't feel comfortable about something, I'm just not going to do it. And that's just all there is to it. And so, my partner and I, we own a license to white label it, whenever they launch it, if we so chose. But I just don't want to, I'm not in the mood to be a pioneer of something while so potentially rewarding. It kind of scares me. And until, and unfortunately, I would love to just be able to call the SEC and be like, hey, SEC, there's this new platform getting ready to come out, and it does this and this and that, and I just wanted to make sure that this was cool. And be like, yeah, sure, not a problem. All right, cool, we're done. But it's just not like that. You have to go through so much hell in a handbasket. And I've contacted the SEC in the past about other things, and and they basically say, get a lawyer, but it's like, it's just such a convoluted mess. And I feel very comfortable doing things the way it's already been done. Like, and call me a puss or whatever you want to call me. I prefer, if I'm going to launch an exchange and I want a legitimate exchange, I want to be regulated. I know that sounds crazy, but I want to file the paperwork that lets the government know I exist. I want to make sure I have the licenses state by state in accordance to law. I want to do all of the things that make me sleep at night. I don't want to launch an exchange because I just want to make a whole bunch of money and screw the government and screw everybody. I want a business that I can either sell or retire on someday. I want security for myself, my family, my partners, and I'm just not willing to take many risks with that. I believe in the crypto space, and I believe in what's going on, and I believe that, in time, the SEC is going to have everything well structured and well laid out. New states are coming out. Pennsylvania just came out and basically said you don't need a money transmitter license to run an exchange out of the state of Pennsylvania. Other states have been coming out recently. Maybe there will be more. But just the laws are still changing and they're still growing, and there's this ebb and flow with regards to regulation and compliance and who needs what and who, there's so much to it, and it's mind-numbing. If you've listened to me now for the last 20 minutes talk about this, you can imagine what I've been going through over the past month and a half, 2 months, because there's so much involved in something like this. And that is why I have not been putting as much time into research and doing videos and things like that, because I'm trying to take advantage of this bear market and create something that just to create something to so that I can make a living, so that I can I'm hoping that what I do enables me to help a lot of people to do just everything that I want to do in life. And it's nothing worth having comes easy. that is absolutely where it's at. So anyway, interesting. Got a couple of trolls today. I'm not used to having trolls in my chat. All right, so here's what we're going to talk about first. If you had $1,000, I keep getting this question all the time, and I used to get it back in the day. And there are a lot of people, I was just in a room teaching some real estate agents, social media type stuff, and what it's like to use YouTube and things. And somebody else asked me a question and basically said, what if I had $1,000, what could I expect to gain from that? And, realistically, it depends on what you do, short and long term, how long you're looking for a return on that money, what you're looking to get out of it. And there's so much to this question, but I'm going to start off by showing a couple things. So the first thing I'm going to show is this. This is the visualization of all historic and horrific Bitcoin crashes. Okay. Now, pay no notice to them, Crow, deadbeats. So this is we're going to start simple here. But I'm going to get into some really heavy stuff here in a minute. So if you look back, from January 12th, 2012, Bitcoin was $7.38. And in that crash, so from January 12th to January 27th, 2012, this all happened in this period of time. Bitcoin went down 49% to $3.80. Now, if you skip ahead, it went from 19,666, negative 70%, actually, obviously much more than that now, it's 85 or something percent. Still not as bad as November 2013 to January 2015, where it went down from 1163 down 87%. I think, that's the highest dip to that point, down to $151. So basically it lost $1,000. Boom. over that time period. And then here we go from 19,666 down to, it's sitting at $3,500 today, at January 24th, 2019. Okay, so obviously there is a historical cycle of highs and lows with regard to the price of Bitcoin. Now, here's what I want to show you. This is actually a chart that, and I've seen a couple people reference this, so I don't know who originated this. I've created I added like the pricing and the Bitcoin wallets, but the blue and reds in this represents a 4-year Bitcoin cycle for the most part. And ultimately, it's not too difficult to see what the pattern is overall, okay? If you look at, this is back in 2014, okay? The high of 2014 was $1,000 for the most part at the time. It was around $1,000. I didn't do this exactly, but you can kind of look to the right of the chart and see roughly where it was. Might have been $1,100 or whatever. This was actually, I think this is actually the historical. So this was like, I think it was like 1,100, and that's when it dropped down to, well, like basically it lost $1,000 in this year time frame. Now, this 4-year cycle it's very apparent if you look at the charts. But from this all-time high to the most recent all-time high of $20,000 for a Bitcoin, the increased number, because I was trying to figure out the correlation between the highs and lows, the time in between, and the number of wallets that were created in that time frame, and to try and find a correlation between, you know, the lowest price of Bitcoin within a time frame, the highest price, and then the growth in the number of active wallets in that time frame. The only real correlation I found is that there's a serious exponential growth in the number of wallets being created for Bitcoin. At the all-time high back here in 2014, at Bitcoin at $1,000, you were looking at 680,000 Bitcoin wallets. Over that next year, so from that all-time high to this year where it was a low, in that time from the all-time high to the next all-time high, which was 4 years later, there was an increase of an average of 5 million wallets per year. Okay? That's just what took us from $1,000 Bitcoin or $1,000 Bitcoin to a $20,000 Bitcoin. We went from 680,000 wallets to 20,733,000 wallets. That was an average of 5 million wallets per year. Now, if we're looking at this market crash that we're still in, this current bear market, we're going from 20,733. We are already, just in this first year, at 32.5 million wallets. We've gone up 12 million Bitcoin wallets since the all-time high. That means 12 million new wallets have been created during this bear market as it sits. If you do not see the exponential growth pattern here, you're crazy. It really does not take rocket science. Now, you'll remember I did a video a while back, and it was titled something like $280,000 Bitcoin, right? And in that video, I went into what just 5%, which it sounds a little high, because I think it looks like a lot of institutions that are looking to get in are going in at like 1 to 2% max, okay? But the video I broke down with 5% of an entire portfolio seemed pretty applicable to me, but I think I was off. But if just 5% of just the pension funds, 5% of the global pension fund market were to go into crypto, go into Bitcoin, I titled that video $280,000 Bitcoin because I felt that it would be more, people could swallow that a little easier than what turned out to be a $1.3 million Bitcoin. Okay? Now, keep in mind, that's just based off of 5% of one sector of the market, okay, of the financial market. That's not counting, private investment, over-the-counter trades. That's not count. That's just 5% of pension fund money. That's it on a global scale, but just 5% of the pension fund money. That I calculated that out to a $1.3 million Bitcoin. So the question is, if this were to go, you're basically looking at a 20x return from last all-time high 4 years ago. When Bitcoin was $1,000, then it got to $20,000. Okay, you're looking at a 30x growth in Bitcoin wallets in that same time frame. If we were to look at that and use that as a pattern to try and predict or estimate the potential growth of Bitcoin by 2021, we could very easily be looking at a $400,000 Bitcoin by 2021. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but all the numbers are pointing to that as virtual fact. If you look at the institutional foundation that's being established today, if you look at the money that's still going into Bitcoin today over the counter, people that are buying, if you think for a second that these guys that have $100 million to pump into Bitcoin over the counter today don't also have an extra few $1,000,000 to contribute to pumping the value to a new all-time highs in the future, you're crazy. And that's exactly what a lot of these guys are going to be doing. Don't kid yourself. They're waiting for things to iron out because they don't want to do it all on their own. If you don't think that the price of Bitcoin is going to be manipulated up to new all-time highs in the future, you're wrong, because that's exactly what's going to happen. However, what these guys don't want to do is they don't want to just do it with their money alone. They want to use market sentiment to help them on their way. And they're going to help increase that market sentiment with new articles. It's going to be a culmination of so many different factors that push this up beyond the $20,000 mark, and the seeds are being planted now. Those seeds being the money that's going in over the counter, the new accounts, the SEC regulations, the ETFs that are trying to work their way into circulation and try to get themselves established. There are so many different things happening right now to try and line clear the pathway to what's coming. And I can see a $400,000 Bitcoin in the next 4 years. I absolutely can. And it's not just Bitcoin is crashing, farms are selling their cards left and right. That's fine. There's a difference between mining and speculation. Some people with enough capital are mining strictly for speculation. Now, the greedy guys out there that are trying to set up these huge mining farms, I'm glad they're going away. I'm glad a lot of these big mining farms are selling, because I don't really believe that Bitcoin and the decentralized nature of Bitcoin was really ever meant to have mining farms that take up football fields with ASICs miners mining this shit up and controlling it. There should really be no fear of this 51% attack type stuff. And so I think, yeah, it's a good thing to me that so many miners are closing up shop or liquidating their assets and things like that, moving on. Because it opens up the pathway for better mining equipment to come out onto the market, be bought up by guys like me, hobby miners all over the globe, and truly further decentralize this technology that was meant to be decentralized 100% anyway. So, in the grand scheme of things, $1,000, if somebody were like, if I wanted to put $1,000 into something, what would I put that $1,000 in now to get the best return? Well, I don't know about the best return, because let's just say that, let's just say that, $1,000 today, ultimately, it could turn into, what did I calculate? It was like 170 grand or something like that. If Bitcoin reaches $400,000 by 2021. So any way you slice it, $1,000 into Bitcoin, and this isn't financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Of course, I have to keep saying that, even though I have the disclaimer at the beginning of the video. But ultimately, $1,000 into Bitcoin today, just sitting on it, for the next few years could prove extremely lucrative. And if you have more and you're looking to put more in, well, I mean, you could do that. I mean, it's all your choice. But obviously, with the way the historical figures look, we're heading towards another bull run whenever it does show up. And I do believe it's going to make the $20,000 bull run look like nothing. And I've been saying that for a while, and so have a lot of other people. The question, though, that a lot of people still have is, when done? When is the bottom officially hit? Have we already hit it? I've been of the belief that we have hit the bottom. Other guys who are trying to do these other calculations and figure out what's going on believe that we could see $2,000 before the official bottom has been hit. And once it hits, whether that's a candle hit and it bounces right back up or what, some people believe that Bitcoin could go lower. And I also believe that there are some people out there that want to become a self-fulfilling prophecy using, let's face it, guys, when the market goes into a bear market, it's very easy to predict new lows. The same way it's very easy to predict new highs after a confirmed bull run. So, some of that is luck, some of that is common sense, and just most of that is just experience in the industry. And so, if you've been in crypto for a few years, well, you might have a much better, like next year, the year after, I guarantee you I'll be making a hell of a lot more accurate predictions than I did in 2017. I believe the bottom is here, Crow. I hope so. I think there's a very good chance for that. Crow, from one professional to another, quality channel you have. Well, thank you. I said thank you, and his name is you, so I thanked him by name. That's kind of good. Bitcoin will go lower, much, much lower. Well, if it does, it does. But regardless, this is the way I look at it. Let's say that you put $1,000 into Bitcoin today and it drops from 3,500 down to $2,000. But in 4 years or in the next 3 years, it goes up to $100,000 of Bitcoin or $200,000 of Bitcoin. Did you lose anything? And that's really the question right now. I think it's time for people to stop being so focused on whether or not they should sell because the price is going to go lower, and rather focus on now being the time to accumulate more if you can. And that's just personal opinion. I truly believe that, so Bitcoin's at 3608. When I started this, it was at 3,500. I'm not saying anything. There's no correlation between the two at all. I'm just saying that, Bitcoin is going to continue going up, and it may go down more, but there's going to be coming a time sooner than later. Well, I shouldn't say sooner than later, but within the next few years, I think we're going to see some new all-time highs. Now, that's not to say that people aren't going to be able to profit. That's the thing. People are waiting for this big spiked bull run, like it's the second coming. Okay. Once the bottom has been confirmed, and it's because to me, I feel like we've already reached capitulation. I feel like we've already reached that point where so many people gave up and said, screw it. I believe that we have reached that point already, and I kind of believe that we're past that. But we'll have to see. But if you want to turn $1,000 into, 70 grand, 100 grand, 200 grand by 2021, I believe that Bitcoin is likely one of the best bets. Now, the flip side to that is, how could you take that $1,000 in Bitcoin and accumulate more? Well, obviously everybody knows that Aquitas, I wonder if I can access that down here. Let me double check real quick, and then I'm going to go into okay, I can't. I don't have the link down here, so it's all good. So that's that. But basically, you can improve your Bitcoin position with bot trading, like the Aquitas bot. I've been testing that even more. I've been testing that now with, I think, 8 pairs, and it's made quite a few trades, and it's treating me pretty well. I'll be doing a video on that. I'd like to get to a point where I'm doing 10 trading pairs and have a substantial list of profitable trades to show everybody before I do another video. But they're coming in. I think I've got like 6 or 7 pretty decent trades that have happened so far. It's not super quick. You know, in a bull market, when there's that constant up and down, you can make a lot of big profitable trades rather quickly. And, you can have a 15% profitable day overall. Can't really do that right now at the bear market where it is. Things are much slower, but it's improving my Bitcoin position. So that's what's most important. And if it continues to do that, I've even thought about just leaving what I have in there, because I haven't started with very much. I think I started with like 0.16 or was it 1.14? I don't remember what it was, but it wasn't a significant amount of Bitcoin. It wasn't even a whole Bitcoin. But I know that I'm at like 0.21 right now or something like that, a total BTC value. And I mean, it's growing. It's not happening with lightning speed, but it's growing. So I'm very proud of it. Had I bought the bot when I had started it, it would have already paid for itself. So that's that. And I'll get into updating everybody on that very soon. Now, before I get into my altcoin kind of updates in some information about the altcoins, I'm going to pay a little bit of bill. I'm going to pay some bills. This is a paid feature I'm going to do real quick. Somebody that actually paid me way back, like months ago. And they're like, but we don't want to do anything yet. We want to wait. And so I was told, hey, they want to do their feature now. So where is my thing? All right. So I'll tell you up front, I don't know a whole lot about this. I don't know how legit it is. They're paying me to talk about it. It sounds cool, but I don't know a whole hell of a lot about it, to be quite frank with you. I'm just basically going to tell you guys about it a little bit, read off some stuff that they've sent to me to discuss, and then let you guys, if you're interested, go out and do some research on your own and find out if it's something that you're into. I'm going to pull up some notes here real quick, and then after this, we're going to go into 5 altcoins, and we're going to get into some serious metrics. So number one point, Decentrax.io is providing the tools for tokenizing assets like concert tickets, home titles, car pink slips, etc., and a wallet with a built-in DEX where secure trades can happen and multiple currencies can be stored. The second note, gas, which is called DCX, will be paid by contract writers at the time of writing the contract in the form of staking 3,000 DCX. If the contract is temporary, like a concert, they can reuse the remaining unspent gas on a new contract or withdraw it. If the contract is in perpetuity, they can refill the gas or provide a donation address for their community to refill the gas. Number 3, for every 1 DCX purchased in ICO, each user will get 1 free share of equity of Decentrax, the company. The equity is not tied to the tokens. So if they sell the tokens, they still keep the equity and vice versa, which I found kind of interesting. They're basically saying, look, when you invest in our ICO, you're going to get some equity that even if you sell the tokens, that equity is not tied to the tokens, which that's interesting. Total supply is 25 million. Stage 1 is live for 60% off from the last stage. 194 DCX per Ethereum right now, and 194 shares of Decentrax. Circulating supply after the ICO is 12.5 million. Interesting. And $6 million for development, 500,000 for community rewards, 11 million for sale in the ICO, 250K sold during the pre-sale, and 1.25 million is for the bounty, airdrop, and marketing. So I guess let's get a little bit of an idea. What exactly is this Decentrax? The Decentrax blockchain is being built from the ground up by designing the proprietary hardware that runs the network around blockchain needs. DCX min-master chips are designed from the ground up around processing hash algorithms to effectively allow for increased transactions per second. The goal of the DCX team will be to meet and exceed 1 million TPS on the DCX network. DCX blockchain will grow with each new project that is adopted into the DCX network, starting with a decentralized exchange that will aim to resolve ease of use and liquidity problems seen with the options currently available to the market. DCX will act as the gas of the exchange, as every swap that occurs will be paid for in DCX. I mean, system software that scale with nodes using highly parallel algorithm. I have not read the white paper. This isn't a review, so don't think that just because it's here that I'm like saying this is great. I'm not saying any of that. I'm basically letting you guys know that this exists. If you haven't heard anything about it, you're welcome to check it out. They paid me to tell you that they exist. Is pretty much the way I see it. DecentraX, the future of blockchains. I guess my curiosity, let's take a quick look at this. A 15-page white paper. So they're basically launching a new blockchain, and they've got a 15-page white paper. Master node. The way I kind of understood this is that they are I think one of the guys on this team, this is more of like a pitch deck than a white paper. I think I was trying to figure out where these guys were based out of. So this guy, he's apparently a chip architect. He's the CEO at Ambien Scientific Inc. But it doesn't say anything about this project. It doesn't say anything about DecentraX. Keith Son is the CEO. That page isn't found. You guys see? Minesh Amin, software architect. Does he exist? Founder at Renio Inc. So yeah, I mean, that's, to me, and again, this isn't a review, but I mean, those are red flags. Like, why aren't if these guys are a part of this team, why aren't they noting DecentraX as, like, okay, Alex Lontayo, San Francisco Bay Area, he doesn't even have a full profile filled out. So there you go. I mean, these guys paid me 0.5 Bitcoin to tell you guys that this stuff exists. Check it out. Do some digging on this team. Make sure that they're all legit. And just tread carefully. I mean, for me, stuff like this right now, I don't really understand the idea of trying to launch an ICO during such a bear market. I don't understand, especially for a project that sounds to be as complex as this, even though their white paper doesn't represent that complexity. It sounds like they're trying to create a blockchain based around this chip technology that I assume that this guy is apparently developing. So it sounds like they're saying, look, we're creating this new blockchain and we're going to sell the hardware to, I could be wrong about this, but it sounds like they want to sell the hardware that's capable of mining it up really quickly. I don't know, but that's DecentraX. Check it out if you're interested. They definitely need a new web designer, and I will leave it at that. All right, now we get into some of the nitty gritty. I'm going to check out chat real quick. I know my wife is home. She's going to be cooking dinner soon. Crow, you should probably talk about Holochain. Yeah, probably. I probably should. I saw that they spiked up like 38% recently, and I'm like, I've heard about it a couple times. I don't know much about it yet, but I will look into it at some point. All right, so I'm going to, here's the thing. A lot of you guys know about a lot of, all 5 of these projects I've talked about for the most part. And I'm not going to get, I don't want this video to be too terribly long. I spent the first 20 minutes rambling. So, we're 49 minutes in. You need better gear, dude. Hats and t-shirts. I would, but I don't even think anybody's buying any of the stuff that's out there. Maybe because it's not Maybe because it's just Teespring. I don't know, but I haven't even looked at any of the sales metrics. I threw that up just more for fun for people if they so chose. Maybe in the next bull run, I'll be able to afford to have my own merch manufactured. And it would make more sense when I'm back to doing like daily videos and things, but I'm so busy. So anyway, TRON. Now here's the thing I'm going to show you guys. So I've got TRON. Now, and keep in mind, me talking about these 5 projects do not necessarily mean that they are my top 5 projects of all time, that, I would invest solely in these projects if I had limited money. That's not really what this is about. What this is about is basically just kind of giving you guys some things to consider when you're looking at altcoin investments, okay? Now, I have invested in all 5 of these projects. So I guess you could consider this a shill, but I keep tabs on things that I invest in, and therefore I am more able to talk about them a little bit. Right? So I'm already spending the time kind of looking into these things, so I'm just sharing that information with you. Call it what you will. Maybe a shill. I don't have anything else that rhymes with that. So anyway, all right, so I'm going to pull up this graphic that I made. Where did it go? There. Volume. All right, so here's what we're going to look at. I guess I'm just going to go ahead and drop this. This is a graphic that shows some metrics data, okay? And we're going to start with TRON. Now, here's the thing. When I am thinking about, obviously we're in a bear market. Companies that got $20 million at ICO ended up with like $2 million. Companies that got $100 million at ICO. Because keep in mind, everybody was getting Ethereum. So while the story is, oh, well, this company and that company got 20 million, this company got 30 million, this company got 100 million. The reality is, unless they cast that Ethereum out the second they got it, they pretty much immediately started losing money come January. And so their coffers continued to go down and down and down. And you see a lot of struggling companies just struggling to complete their projects, keep their staff in play. You see a company like Dash has had to lay off a bunch of people. Steam has had to lay off a bunch of people. I mean, a lot of these crypto companies that we thought would be booming are now struggling because they didn't sell off the Ethereum. They thought, well, nobody saw this bear market turning so quickly and really smacking everybody straight in the mouth within a 30-day period for the most part. And so that being said, to me, when I'm looking at altcoin projects, like we've already kind of discussed how I like holding this paintbrush. I've been painting all kinds of stuff, and I know I'm rambling, but this is one that I had just finished. She's got black hair. She's like my wife. This is for a game called War Machine and Hordes that I play every week, and I absolutely love it. It's a super hard game to learn, but it's super competitive and challenging, and you meet some really cool people playing it. But that's what I've been spending time. I know I'm going to get back on track, but I just wanted to show you why I'm carrying a paintbrush. There's another guy, Cage Rager. So that's what I do is I paint these little guys, and then I take them to war, and I try to crush people's dreams. Fun, and it's therapeutic. So anyway, we've already discussed, I love nerd games. I play Magic the Gathering Arena, which a lot of you guys know. I mean, I just love nerd games. It's a great pastime. So anyway, we've discussed how basically, investing as much as $1,000 or as little as $1,000 in Bitcoin today could prove extremely lucrative by 2021. Okay, provided this whole 4-year thing goes and all of that. Now, if we look at some of these altcoins, AION right now, if you were to buy one coin of AION, it would have to go up 77.8x just to get back to its all-time high. I believe it will. And by that, buying AION right now could potentially be a better investment than buying Bitcoin. TRON, on the other hand, so let's go through some of these metrics so that you kind of understand what I'm talking about. So Tron's right now, I think these are transactions within the past year, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't put year, but I'm pretty sure that's what they were. Over 2 million transactions over the past year, over 5,620 GitHub commits in the past year. The team is active. Of the total supply and how many Tron tokens have been issued, 66% of the total supply has been issued, which means there's still like, there's still some room for deflation, I guess, if you will. But I know that they're also prone to burning tokens, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure they burned some tokens in the past. And then you've got Twitter users and Telegram users, which that was a bigger deal at ICO. It's not as big a deal now as much as transactions and GitHub commits. If you look, Cardano has had 2,617 GitHub commits in the past year. Ripple, only 253. AION has had 2,598. And Ontology, 1,267. Ontology has a lot more GitHub commits than Neo does. And again, this isn't about going into the details of the relationships. The question is, of all of the altcoins out there, which ones are still making steady progress through this bear market with less capital, very likely, than they had at their ICO? Who is going to rise up in the top 25 during the next bull run? And I had started on calculating way too much stuff for one video. But I wanted to kind of calculate every time Bitcoin had an all-time high, what were the top 25 altcoins at the time? And at some point I am going to do a video about that, but I wanted to figure out which coins made it the following year, the following year, the following year. And if I believe it's currency type tokens, I think have made it through into the top 10, top 25 with some scattered other use cases. Now, Tron, I think, is going to... Tron, to me, they're doing so many different things, and without getting... I was going to go in and present like the latest 5 things for each token, news that's come out recently, but I just didn't have time, and I didn't want this to be a 2-hour video. You guys can Google that stuff yourself. But these 5 projects are 5 projects. Now, I will say, AION is showing us having 2 active users with 1 transaction. We know that's wrong because I'm an active user of AION right now. I'm still mining it. So I can't help but believe there's at least one other person or more than one other person in the world actively mining it or actively doing stuff with it. I know that these transactions are happening pretty regularly. So Theta is another one that I liked. But I just, again, this list of 5 tokens isn't necessarily like the end all be all. Cardano's getting ready to launch their proof of stake, folks, and that's going to be a huge boon to the Cardano price, because when people realize that they can buy Cardano, throw it on the Daedalus wallet, and actually start minting new coins based off of how much they own, I think that's going to really give Cardano a big boost, and I think it could potentially take it up into the double-digit marks pretty quickly when that's done. Ripple's always adding new bank clients, and like if you're in the Murderer Crows Telegram chat, we've of course got Dax in there who loves Ripple, and he's always updating everybody on new banking clients and things like that. AION is what I mine because it's super easy to mine. I mean, I built that 6 GPU mining rig. There's a video in my thing there. I basically broke it down step by step how I built the rig and what I used to build it. And it's super easy to mine up. I mean, it's quick. And my rig, when I was mining Ethereum, my mining rig would always bounce between 75, 78 degrees. My AION mining rig I don't think it's ever gone above 65 degrees. And that's important because the hotter everything's running, it's your hardware is likely not going to last as long because it's just running so hot all the time. And for those of you that don't know, because you don't watch me and you're just tuning in, AION is basically going to be, I think AION is going to play a very significant role in a lot of this blockchain interoperability as the market really starts to turn around and the cream has risen to the top. And I think that's when AION is going to start to really shine. I think AION is going to start coming back when they are, because let's face it, for them right now, I doubt, I mean, obviously with 2,500, almost 2,600 GitHub commits in the past year, they're actively working. But I think that they're not going to be building interoperability bridges between every blockchain on the market. They want to focus on the ones that are going to be the most widely used and that offer significant use cases. And the interoperability bridges that they're building are basically going to enable something like Cardano to talk to and work with Ethereum, or Cardano to work with TRON, and basically, work cohesively as one blockchain is kind of how I understand AION to work. And I think that the blockchain space is going to rely quite heavily on AION being able to enable them to do that. And I think it's going to play a significant role later on. Ontology, basically I almost feel like Ontology's, I think they're preparing to gear up and take over NEO in the Chinese market. That's just my personal opinion. There's a lot of stuff going on with NEO, and there has been a lot of stuff going on with NEO, people breaking out of the NEO team, moving into the Ontology team, so forth and so on. And, look, they're active. I mean, 1,267 GitHub commits. Now, there wasn't any information on active users or transactions, and I don't know why. I couldn't find anything on the resources I had, but let's face it, we know that there are things happening, just like with AION. Some of these I couldn't find GitHub data on at all. I had to go to another resource, and I was able to find that information there. But the overall gist of this video is, when you're talking about projects, ultimately, I think the big question should be, it's not a question of which projects are going to last, the next month, or like what are projects. It's all about which projects are going to last, I guess is my point. Of all the altcoins out there and all the companies struggling with this bear market, which companies are actively moving forward, and not just actively moving forward, but with pretty decent speed. Now, some of these projects aren't open source projects, and so it's not likely that they're doing GitHub commits. So a lack of GitHub doesn't mean it's a bad project. But for a lot of these projects, it's useful to have that as a metric. Hour-long video. I should probably cut it. I am just waiting for a good Crow tax video. It's coming, and I can wait. Yeah, I know I need to reach out to my CPA, and I'm going to get him on because he's really good and he's pretty good at explaining stuff. So maybe I'll try to reach out to him and see if I can't make the next video I do a tax video. How capital gains is calculated, bot trading revenue, all that stuff that throws up. But the thing of it is I feel like some things have changed in the tax code recently. And I think it's supposed to help benefit people, but that's a big question that we'll have to ask him. So hopefully this video was helpful, educational. Was it worth being the video of the week? I mean, I hope so. I know that, I on my Twitter, I had asked everybody, what kind of content is everybody looking for from me right now? And I know a lot of people are saying, well, let's go back and look at some of the projects that you've talked about, and where are they now? And so this is basically 5 of those. I think they're doing pretty well. And so that's that. I mean, we'll go into some other stuff in the future, but for now, enjoy the rest of your week, folks. And thanks for joining me. Quite a few people here today, and it's good to see everybody in chat. Your audio is not syncing your video, Crow. Yeah. Oh. So I hope you got that. Just kidding. Have a good night. Crow your coins, and I'll see you guys next week.